Sorrells from Walter Sorrells Blades. Today I've got a Hira-zukuri blade, which is kind of an unusual geometry for a Japanese style blade. It does not have the characteristic secondary bevel that is typical on Japanese blades. Typically a Hira-zukuri blade like this, a blade with the single bevel as opposed to the more characteristic double bevel of the normal Japanese sword. This sort of geometry is typically used on tantos, that is knives, and sometimes on wakizashis, the medium-sized swords. They were used, this type of geometry was used on katanas, but much less frequently than it was on shorter blades. One of the myths, I would call it a myth, of the unbeveled or Hira-zukuri blade is that they're not very strong. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to take one of my Hira-zukuri, that is unbeveled blades, and we're going to run it through some pretty vigorous testing and, you know, see whether it holds up or not. Now everybody knows that the Hira-zukuri blade is sharp. I mean, extremely sharp. So we're going to see if that sharpness comes at a cost in terms of strength. So here's the test. I've sunk a 2x4 out in my yard. I'm going to put the blade in a test handle and basically just chop the snot out of the 2x4. It's a standard 2x4, you know, that would be used for home construction. Quite solid, quite abrasive. It's very rigidly supported. And you know, I'm just going to chop it at absolute full force until I've chopped it so far down that I'm worried about whacking the sword into the ground. When I'm done, I'll test to see did the edge hold. We'll find out if it breaks, if it bends. You know, basically just how it responds to very vigorous test cutting against a material that is well beyond what it was designed to cut. So this blade is really made to be a pure cutter. It's mono steel W1. I've made variations of this type from various steels. Of course, any blade can be made sharp. So the question is, does this blade have that combination of resiliency, edge holding, and sharpness that would make it really useful as a cutting blade? The reason I keep cutting paper is that paper is a really unforgiving cutting medium. If you have the slightest little burr or chip in the blade, it'll snag that paper and it just won't cut at all. So as long as you can see it smoothly cutting the paper, that's an indication that the edge has held up, not only that it stayed pretty sharp, but that it hasn't chipped or dinged in any places. I didn't make any effort to avoid knots or anything like that. I just hit it full force with every swing. So no nicks, no chips, no bends, a few little superficial scratches that just polished right out, and otherwise no damage whatsoever to the blade, and in fact shaves hair right off the arm. So at no point did I stop to sharpen the blade. The condition of the blade, as you see it when I'm shaving my arm and cutting all that paper, is exactly the condition that it was in when I concluded the test. So, what's the verdict? Clearly the myth that Hira-zukuri blades are not suitable for vigorous test cutting is belied by the test that we did here today. Properly heat treated, properly forged, properly made, a Hira-zukuri blade like this can be used for any kind of reasonable cutting that a martial artist or a sword enthusiast might want to use it for. The blade featured in this video is currently available for purchase. Check out WalterSorrellsBlades.com for information on this or other Japanese-inspired swords and knives.